Out of control. So you can sit here and dictate whatever you want today. Maybe the political winds are in your favor here today, but I can tell you that we will not comply, and you're not going to do a darn thing about it, because the law, the Constitution, and the founding principles are on our side.
That's State Representative Blaine Wilhour the night that the Illinois House and the Democratic supermajority passed through the state's ban on assault weapons as they defined them. So 170-plus semi-automatic weapons on that list, but that list could grow as Illinois State Police also given the authority to either add or subtract from that list every October 1st. And there's another deadline that they're opening up the window for you to be required to register your firearms. If you had them before the ban was put into place, you have to register those firearms with state police. October 1st is when the window opens. January 1st is when the window closes. And if you don't register them by then, you could face a Class 2 felony. But you also have the magazines that are banned as well. More than 10 rounds for rifles, more than 15 rounds for handguns. A whole host of things going on here. Joining us now is State Representative Blaine Wilhour, who is a plaintiff in that case that was just issued a temporary restraining order in White County. He's one of around 1,690 different plaintiffs in this case. So State Representative Blaine Wilhour, let's get your reaction here on WMAY. What's going on?
Hey, good to be here, Greg. This is what we expected. You know, I said this all along. I said it on the floor of the House that night. The law and the Constitution are on our side, and, you know, this is a clear indication that the Constitution still matters in Illinois, and the Second Amendment still applies in Illinois. And, you know, furthermore, I think it's a really clear indication that the courts aren't going to just allow the Democrats to run completely unchecked, doing whatever they want without regard to the rules or the Constitution, just because they got the numbers, because that's where we're at right now. They think they can do whatever they want.
And I want to talk a bit about the idea of the 3 readings rule and the single subject rule and the due process of all of this. But the state level case is really dealing with the issue of equal protections. How are you as a state lawmaker being hurt by saying that, hey, you can't have these or go out and buy new ones, but you know, somebody who's in law enforcement can?
Right. I mean, they're creating different classes of citizens, and we can't do that. The rules that apply to one class of citizens have to apply to the others. And as Attorney DeVore has said many times, if training is what they're calling for, then we should have equal access to complete that training to be able to do this as well. But, you know, it should be noted that there's nothing in the legislation that even mentions that. That's just something that they made up to try to defend a law that is defenseless and unenforceable at the end of the day.
I'm talking with State Representative Blaine Wilhour. He's one of 1,690 different plaintiffs in the White County case. There's also a temporary restraining order that was upheld by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in the Effingham County case of 866 others that are part of that case. We'll obviously see this play out not just in state courts with the Attorney General looking to get the state Supreme Court in an expedited review of these cases, but we've also got the federal cases that are playing out, and those deal with a whole host of things: the Second Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and so on. But Representative, how important is it that we don't keep our eye off of what happens at the State House? You guys are starting a new session. What are some of the bills that you've been told about, or have you seen pop up that Democrats are filing that could further impact Second Amendment rights in this state?
Yeah, I mean, with the numbers that they have, they've got 78. They need 60 to pass something. They're feeling like they can do whatever they want. And we certainly can't keep our eye off anything, because one thing we know about the Democrats, especially when they got these kind of numbers, is they're going to keep coming back. You know, they're not going to let the court system keep them from doing what they want to do. We've seen that with the Safety Act. You know, it got some legal pushback on it, and they just went in there and tried to change a few things and go at it again. They just keep on moving. We've seen some stuff filed already on, trying to bring back basically the progressive income tax, the wealth tax, So there's a lot of things that we need to be looking at. And, in Springfield, nothing ever dies. That's for sure.
Representative Blaine Wilhour with us on WMAY. I wanted to get your reaction to the fundraising efforts that some Democrats are taking, including State Representative Bob Morgan. Somebody shared with me a fundraising email that went out where he's essentially asking for $25, $50, $100 donations on the heels of what he says are a stack of lawsuits trying to block the Protect Illinois Communities Act, saying that those who are trying to tear this down are NRA or NRA enablers, and also saying that if this law gets struck down, it's going to keep these what they call weapons of war on the streets of Illinois. Your reaction to that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there, Greg, but at the end of the day, this bill is more about virtue signaling than it is about solving an actual problem. There's no amount of guns coming off the streets or no amount of laws against guns are gonna fix the violence problem in the state. And to act like it is going to is being totally disingenuous. And I'm sure that Bob is taking all of that money that he's raising and giving it to these attorneys to fight this law. I would be certain that he's doing that, and somebody needs to make sure of it.
So having been involved in the legislative process for the amount of time you've been involved, do you have any hope that there's going to be a change to address, the super minority Republican concerns, or do you see that, the way the legislature has conducted itself is going to be kind of status quo?
No, I mean, for the next 2 years, I don't foresee a whole lot of change. I mean, they believe that they got an electoral mandate. Speaker Welch was very clear about that when he was running over us with the rules on the floor the other day. He said, "We won, you lost, and we're going to do whatever we want." We've just got to keep building, and we got to start doing a better job of standing for the issues that are important to the people in Illinois. I contend that the Democrats aren't winning because people like Democrats. They're winning because Republicans have done a poor job of standing up on issues and being bold on issues that are important to voters, the kitchen table issues. So there's a lot of work that we can do. I sure hope that there's only one way we can go from here, and that's up. And, that's what we plan on doing.
State Representative Blaine Wilhour. Finally here, back to the White County case, the Effingham County case, and other state-level cases, including one that's going to be heard today in Macon County. Seems to go after, a bevy of things, not just the issue of equal protection, which the courts have upheld, even the appellate court has upheld, but the other issues. And the White County judge, while he didn't rule in favor of the plaintiffs, including you, on the 3 readings rule, on the single subject rule, the due process rule, he really did say in explicit terms that the rules have been thrown out, and that needs to be addressed here. How important is it to address the 3 readings rule, the single subject rule, the issue of having proper due process so that everybody has input and fully debate these laws that pass, like a gun ban, like the Safety Act, and so on?
It's extremely important. It gets right down to the transparency and accountability issues. They circumvent these rules to circumvent transparency and to circumvent accountability. Doing these things in the dead of night with nobody having time to read them, gut and replace, all of this stuff. The courts, both in Effingham County and White County, have been very clear that they're disgusted with the blatant disregard of the rules and the process, but they just, and the 5th was too. They didn't necessarily throw out that argument. They just said they didn't think they had the authority to decide it, and the Supreme Court needs to. So, we're not giving up those arguments either. When we get to the Supreme Court with this stuff, we're going to have Speaker Welch and President Harmon on the record on how they violated our process here.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that and many more issues as the Illinois State House gears back up, both chambers back in session next week. State Representative Blaine Wilhour, greatly appreciate you taking the time. We'll connect again soon, all right?
That was good, Greg. Thanks.
I appreciate it. It is now 7:35. Got to take a break for news.